A man in a black ski mask kicked open my bedroom door and pressed a suppressed pistol against my forehead. I stopped breathing. I waited for the bang, but he didn't pull the trigger. He lowered the gun and ripped off his mask with trembling hands. Under the mask was a face that looked exactly like mine. Same green eyes, same crooked nose. He looked at me with tears streaming down his face and whispered, "I finally found you." Then I heard my mother scream from the hallway, but it wasn't a scream of fear, it was a scream of rage. Tell me, if a stranger broke into your house and claimed your parents stole you, would you run with him or scream for help? 3 minutes ago, I was dreaming about my girlfriend. Now there's a gun against my skull and a stranger crying over me like I'm a ghost he's been chasing his whole life. He holstered the gun and grabbed my shoulders. "Look at me, Leo. Look at my face." He pulled the mask off completely. It was like looking into a time machine. He was me in 20 years. The same jawline, the same scar above the left eyebrow, a genetic birthmark I thought was unique. "My name is David," he said, his voice breaking. "I have been looking for you for 15 years. Since the day you were taken from the park." My brain short-circuited. Taken? No. Robert and Sarah are my parents. I have photos. I have a birth certificate. Fake, David spat. All fake. They are professional brokers. They steal children and sell them to wealthy families. But they kept you. You were their favorite. He paused. His jaw tightened. The others weren't so lucky. Others? What others? He pulled a crumpled piece of paper from his vest. It was an age progression photo of a missing child. It was me. "We have to go," he said, pulling me up. "Robert isn't unconscious. He's just stunned. And Sarah is the dangerous one. She always was." I stood up. My legs felt like jelly. I didn't know what to believe, but my gut knew this man was telling the truth. I felt a connection I never felt with Robert. "Okay," I whispered. David smiled, a real, hopeful smile. "Stay behind me. We're going out the back." Bang! The shot was deafening in the small room. David's chest exploded in a spray of red. He fell toward me, not away, toward. Like even dying, he was trying to protect me. His blood was warm on my shirt. His hand grabbed my arm, squeezed once, then let go. He looked at me, his eyes wide with shock. He tried to speak, but only blood came out. He collapsed forward onto the carpet. Behind him, standing in the doorway, was my mother. She wasn't wearing her pajamas. She was wearing boots and holding a smoking revolver. But here's what I didn't expect. Her hand was shaking just for a second. Then she steadied it. "I told him to stop looking," she whispered, almost to herself. 15 years. "I told you you were happy. Why couldn't he just let you be happy?" She knew him. She knew David. They had talked before. "Leo, honey," she said, stepping over David's twitching body. Her voice shifted back to cold. "Go back to bed. Mommy has to clean up a mess. My real father is dying on my rug. My fake mother is holding a gun and knew my real father personally. Tell me, what the hell is really going on here?" I stared at the body of my real father. The blood was soaking into the white carpet, turning it dark crimson. My mother, Sarah, didn't check his pulse. She didn't call the police. She just sighed and wiped a speck of blood off her cheek. Then my dad, Robert, stumbled into the room, rubbing the back of his head where David had hit him. He looked down at the corpse. He didn't scream. He didn't panic. He looked at Sarah with something like relief. "Finally," he said. 15 years of looking over our shoulders. It's done. Get the bleach. I'll get the chainsaw. Tell me, what is scarier? A killer who screams in rage, or a killer who treats murder like a household chore? "You killed him," I screamed, backing into the corner. "You knew him. You talked to him." Sarah froze. Her mask slipped for just a second. "Who told you that?" "David did," I lied. "Before you shot him. He said you two had a deal." "What deal, Mom? What the hell did you do?" Robert stepped towards me. His grip closed around my arm like a vice. "He was a stalker, Leo, a mentally unstable fan. We protected you." But his voice wavered. He was lying. They both were. I held up the crumpled piece of paper David gave me. "He had this. This is the missing child poster." Robert snatched the photo from my hand. He didn't even look at it. He crumpled it up and shoved it into his pocket. Then he looked at Sarah with panic in his eyes. "We have a breach.
The kid knows too much. The programming is broken.
Sarah walked to her vanity table. She didn't pick up a phone. She picked up a syringe, but her hands were still shaking. She looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Guilt? Fear? I couldn't tell. "This is for your own good, Leo," she said. "When you wake up, you won't remember any of this. You'll be happy again." Happy. Like I was ever really happy. Like the dreams I had every night about running through a park and a woman screaming my name were just bad pizza. I kicked Robert in the shin. He grunted and loosened his grip for a second. I bolted for the window. I grabbed the latch and pulled. It didn't budge. I smashed my fist against the glass. It didn't shatter. It didn't even crack. It wasn't glass. It was plexiglass. Thick. Bulletproof. I turned around. My bedroom wasn't a room. It was a cell, and I had been living in it for 15 years without knowing. Robert tackled me to the floor. He pinned my arms with his knees. Sarah walked over and flicked the syringe. "Shh, baby," she whispered. "It's just a bad dream. When you wake up, you won't remember the man in the mask. You won't remember the photo. You'll just be our happy little Leo again." "Please," I screamed. "He was my father." Sarah's hand stopped. Just for a moment, her eyes went distant. "He wasn't your father," she said quietly. "He was your uncle. Your father died before you were born. And your mother—" She stopped herself, jammed the needle into my neck. Cold fire spread through my veins. My vision blurred. The room started to spin. "What about my mother?" I slurred. The last thing I saw was Robert dragging David's body out of the room by his feet, leaving a long red smear on the floor. The last thing I heard was Sarah's voice. "Pack his bags, Robert. We burned this location. We move the asset to the warehouse tonight. And call Maria. Tell her the price just went up." Maria? Who the hell is Maria? Tell me, if you discovered your kidnapping might involve your own blood, would you want to know the truth? Or ignorance be mercy? I woke up to the smell of bleach and rusty iron. I was lying on cold concrete. My hands were zip-tied behind my back. I opened my eyes and wished I hadn't. I wasn't in a bedroom. I was in a massive industrial warehouse. And I wasn't alone. Rows of chain-link cages stretched into the darkness. Inside each cage was a teenager. Some were sleeping. Some were crying. Some were just staring at the wall with dead eyes. One cage was empty, fresh. The lock was still shiny. There was a clipboard hanging on the bars. I read the name, Emma, age 14, acquired yesterday. Destination, private buyer, Moscow, yesterday. They took a girl named Emma yesterday. She was already gone, sold, shipped, while I was sleeping in my fake bedroom, dreaming about my fake girlfriend. I couldn't save her, but I could save the rest. I realized the truth instantly. I wasn't an only child. I was just the one they kept in the house. I was inventory unit 7. Tell me, what makes one child worth keeping and another worth selling? What made me special, or was I just lucky? I heard footsteps. Click-clack, click-clack. Sarah walked down the aisle holding a tablet. She stopped at my cage. "He's awake," she said into her headset. "Prep him for transport. The buyer in Dubai wants him within 48 hours. She scrolled through the tablet. "But first, I need to handle the Maria situation. She's demanding double now that David's dead. She thinks she has leverage. Maria again. I had to know. Who is Maria?" I croaked through the bars. Sarah looked at me. For a long moment, she didn't answer. Then she smiled, a cruel smile. "You really want to know? Maria is your mother, Leo. Your real biological mother. She's the one who sold you to us. $50,000. You were 2 years old, and she handed you over like a used car." The world stopped. My mother sold me, not strangers, not random criminals. My own mother. "David was her brother," Sarah continued, enjoying my pain. "He spent 15 years trying to undo what she did, trying to save you from the sister he couldn't forgive. And now he's dead, and Maria is asking for more money to keep quiet about the whole thing. Family, right?" She walked away toward a glass office on the second floor. Robert walked up holding a stun baton. He unlocked the cage door. "Stand up," he commanded. "I need to cut the ties." He pulled out a tactical knife. I turned around, felt the blade slice through the plastic. My hands were free. This was it. The only chance I would ever get. He expected me to be the good kid they raised, but they stole me from a fighter. David was a fighter, and I had his blood. I spun around. I grabbed the stun baton with my left hand, and his knife hand with my right. We struggled. The baton crackled near my face. "You little brat!" he roared, trying to knee me in the stomach. I bit his hand hard until I tasted copper. He yelled and dropped the knife. I dove for it. Robert swung the baton at my head. I ducked. It hit the cage bars, sending sparks everywhere. I grabbed the knife. I drove it upward into his thigh. He screamed. I picked up the stun baton. I jammed it into his neck and held the button down. He convulsed. His eyes rolled back. He slumped forward, out cold. I stood over him, breathing heavy. I had the knife, I had the baton, and I had his keys, including a small remote with a red button. Master override. I looked at the cages. 50 kids watching, silent, hopeful. Then I looked up at the glass office. Sarah was on the phone, probably with Dubai, or with Maria, my mother, the woman who sold. I locked Robert in my cage and walked toward the metal stairs. Sarah saw me coming. She put the phone down. She opened her desk drawer and pulled out the revolver. She walked out onto the metal walkway and aimed it down at me. "You ungrateful little mistake," she yelled. "I should have let Maria drown you when she wanted to." Drown me? My mother wanted to drown me, and Sarah stopped her. The monster saved me from a bigger monster. Tell me, when everyone in your family tree is a predator, does that make you one too? I didn't run up the stairs. Suicide mission. Sarah pointed the revolver not at me, but at a young girl shivering in the cage next to me. "Drop the weapon, Leo," she shouted, "or I start damaging inventory." She cocked the hammer. I looked at the girl's terrified eyes. I slowly placed the baton on the floor. Sarah smiled, that cold corporate smile. "Good boy. Now get back in your cage." But she didn't know about the remote in my pocket. I raised my hands in surrender. "I'm giving up, Mom." My thumb found the red button. "Tell me, what happens when you trap 50 teenagers in cages for years and then suddenly set them all free at once?" Click, clack! 50 electronic locks disengaged simultaneously. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Every cage door swung open for a second. Nobody moved. "Run!" I screamed. "Get her!" It was like a dam break. 50 kids poured out. They weren't victims anymore. They were a swarm. Sarah fired a shot into the ceiling. Nobody flinched. You can't scare people who have nothing left to lose. She turned and ran into her glass office, locking the door. I grabbed the baton and joined the wave. We pounded on the glass. Sarah was inside, frantically making a call. One of the older boys grabbed a fire extinguisher, swung it at the door. Smash! The safety glass shattered. The mob surged in. I got there first, jumped over the desk. Sarah raised the gun at, "I made you," she screamed. "I saved you from Maria. She wanted you dead, and I gave you a life." "You gave me a cage," I said. I jammed the stun baton into her chest. She convulsed and dropped the gun. The other kids swarmed in. They held her down, hundreds of hands pinning the woman who stole our lives. But I wasn't done. I grabbed her tablet. I opened my file. Subject Leo. Real name Ethan Miller. Acquisition method direct purchase. Seller Maria Miller. Relationship biological mother. Payment $50,000. Current status premium asset. Contact for seller act. Last communication 6 hours ago. 6 hours ago. Maria knew I was here. She knew I was about to be sold to Dubai, and she called to negotiate a bigger cut. There was an address. Maria Miller, 1847 Oakwood Drive, 40 minutes away. She was close. She had always been close. Tell me, if you had the address of the woman who sold you into slavery, would you go there for answers, or would you burn it and walk away? The police arrived 10 minutes later. They found Robert groaning on the warehouse floor and Sarah zip-tied to her own chair. They found the records, photos, dates, prices. 23 victims documented, but they didn't find Maria. I didn't give them the address. Not yet. A detective walked me out of the warehouse, wrapped in a blanket. I was shaking, not from cold, from everything. A man was waiting by the ambulance. When he saw me, he dropped his coffee. It shattered on the pavement, but he didn't notice. He was staring at me like I was a ghost. He looked just like David and just like me. He took 3 steps toward, then stopped, like he was afraid I might disappear if he got too close. "Can I?" he started. His voice broke. "Can I hug you?" Nobody had asked my permission for anything in 15 years. I nodded. He wrapped his arms around, and I felt something I hadn't felt since I was 2 years old. Safe. Actually safe. He was sobbing into my shoulder. "I'm sorry," he kept saying. "I'm sorry we didn't find you sooner. I'm sorry about David. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I just let him hold me. And for the first time in my life, I cried. Really cried. Not because I was scared, because I was found. Tell me, is it possible to mourn someone you never knew and celebrate someone you just met at the exact same time? He grabbed my face with both hands, studied my eyes. You have his eyes, he choked. David's eyes. I'm your Uncle Marcus, David's brother. He told me something that shattered. David recorded a video for you in case he didn't make it. He knew he probably wouldn't. He paused. He knew Maria would never stop selling information about you to the highest bidder. He knew one day she'd get him killed, and he came anyway.
David knew my mother would betray him, and he walked into that house anyway. For me, tell me, is that love or is that stupidity? And does it matter when the person is dead? It's been 6 months. I live with Uncle Marcus now. I have a real room with a window that opens. I watched the trial on TV. Sarah and Robert got life sentences. No parole. Sarah looked at the camera as they led her away. She didn't look remorseful. She looked at me through the screen and mouthed 2 words. Ask Maria. I haven't testified against Maria yet. The police are still building the case. She's been arrested, but she's out on bail, claiming she was coerced. Claiming she was a victim too. Her lawyer is good, expensive. I wonder who's paying for it. I looked up my father's name in the police database Marcus helped me access. Daniel Miller. Died 2007. Cause of death, suicide. But there was a note in the file, suspected homicide. Case closed due to lack of evidence. Primary suspect, Maria Miller. My mother might have killed my father before she sold me, before any of this. What the hell happened in that house? Last week, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a photo of me at age 2, smiling, happy, in the arms of a woman I don't recognize. Brown hair, my eyes. On the back, someone wrote, I'm sorry, I had no choice. He was going to kill us both. Let me explain, please. M. He. Who is he? My father? Someone else? Was there a threat I don't know about? A reason she did what she did? Or is this just another manipulation from a woman who sold her own child? I haven't replied, but I haven't burned the letter either. It's on my desk. I look at it every night. The photo, her face, my face at 2 years old, happy, before everything. Marcus says I should let the courts handle it. Let the system decide if she's guilty. But the system let her out on bail. The system might let her walk. And I have David's video. I finally watched it last night. He said, Ethan, if you're watching this, I'm probably dead. I paused the video. I couldn't breathe. He knew he was walking into a death trap. And he came anyway. I pressed play. I'm sorry I couldn't save you sooner. I'm sorry I couldn't save you from her, but I need you to know something. His voice cracked. David, the man who broke into my house with a gun, was crying on camera. Maria wasn't always a monster. She was my little sister. She was kind once. Before she met your father, before he broke her. My father, the man I never knew, the man who apparently destroyed my mother before I was even born. I don't know what he did to her, but whatever it was, it killed the person she used to be. I paused again, looked at the photo Maria sent, her smiling face. Was this the before version? The sister David remembered? I pressed play one last time. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm asking you to understand that monsters aren't born, they're made. And maybe you can unmake them. Or maybe I'm just a fool who still loves his sister despite everything. He wiped his eyes, looked directly into the camera, directly at me. Either way, I love you, Ethan. I always have. Even when I didn't know where you were, even when I thought I'd never find you. You were always my nephew. You were always family. Stay alive. Stay human. Don't let them make you into what they are. The video ended. I sat in the dark for 3 hours. I didn't move. I didn't cry. I just stared at the frozen frame. His face. My face. The face of a man who loved me enough to die for me. And the face of a man whose sister sold me for $50,000. Family. Don't let them make you into what they are. But what if I already am? What if the hunger I felt when I stabbed Robert wasn't survival? What if I liked it? What if when I held that stun baton against Sarah's chest, I didn't want to stop? What if the reason Maria saw something in me worth selling is because she saw something broken, something valuable to the kind of people who buy children? I look in the mirror now, and I see David's eyes, but I also see Maria's jaw, her cheekbones. I'm made of both of them, the hero and the monster. My name is Ethan Miller. I am not inventory, but I don't know what I am yet. The trial is next month. Maria will be there. Our eyes will meet across the courtroom. Mother and son, seller and product, victim
and victim. I've written a letter back to her. Just 2 words. Sealed in an envelope, ready to send. The first word is I. Tell me, what do you think the second word is? Forgive? Hate? Or something she'll never expect? Here's a hint. It's not a feeling, it's a promise. I haven't decided if I'll send it yet, but I keep looking at that photo. Me at 2 years old, smiling. In her arms, before she sold me, before David died, before everything. She's smiling too, like she loved me, like she meant it. Maybe she did. Maybe that's the worst part. You can love someone and still destroy them. I learned that from Sarah. I learned that from Maria, and now I'm terrified I'll learn it about myself. Stay human, David said. I'm trying, but some nights I dream about the warehouse, and in the dream, I'm not freeing the other kids. I'm locking the cages, and in the dream, there's a clipboard in my hand, and I'm writing a name on it, the name of the new patient at my therapy group, the quiet kid who nobody would miss. I wake up before I finish writing, but my hand is still moving, muscle memory from a dream, and I wake up, smiling. Tell me, did I escape my family, or am I just becoming the next generation?